Oi! Yes! Dude, look at how ready Smooth Jimmy is, huh? Look at how ready I am. Do you know what that means when you see Smooth Jimmy smiling like that on the screen? It's a new week, the first of the week. It means it's time for another balls deep breakdown with me, your host, Uncle Weezy. I hope you guys are ready. It's a new week. We are past last week's shit show of a card, and we are ready to break down a real card with real fights, pay per view, an interim title championship here on the line here between Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane. This is going to be an exciting card. And I picked one of the fights here that you guys also picked for me on Twitter, which is Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. This is going to be such a good fight, such a clash of styles. I can't wait to get into the numbers with you guys for this fight, break it down in detail. This is going to be a great stylistic matchup, exactly the kind of stylistic matchup I love breaking down with you guys. We got Grateful Dude in the room. Thanks for going deep on this one. It should be a fun fight. Yeah, dude. I mean, how could it not? Kiesa is undefeated up here at welterweight, and we got Vicente Luque, who has never even once been in anything that could be closely described as an even mediocre fight. Guy's always in amazing fights, and Kiesa has got a very particular style he brings to the table. It's going to be a great one, man. I can't wait to break it down with you guys. And then my man DFS by the numbers in the room. What's up, Brady? And my favorite fight on the card, he says, yeah, dude, this is probably my favorite fight on the card, too. The Lewis Gane fight, like, ranks not even in the top 5 for me because I could see it. You know, there's a lot of fights here that on this card that you could see being really exciting, having a great little stylistic matchups, a lot of finishes and stuff. Lewis Gane's one of the fights that really kind of sticks out for it might just suck. It might be really bad because Gane's got this style where he doesn't like to engage, and Derek Lewis is very, very low volume as well. So, yeah, man, this could be this Chiesa Luque fight is always going to be whenever the name Vicente Luque is one of the two in the fight. It could be a fight of the night. We got Jack Attack in the room saying, what's up? What's up, Jack? Thanks for hanging out, man. We got Grayson in here. This is a banger. Thanks, Uncle Weezy. Thanks for hanging out, Grayson. I can't wait to talk about this one. We got OKK in the room. What up? Gia. And we got Jack Attack. Weirdly, I feel like I'd be more interested in Gane Lewis if it wasn't for a dumb interim belt. Yeah, man. You know, as somebody who got a marketing degree that I never used many, many, many years ago, you know, this is like the marketing guys in the room, the marketing guys and gals in the room saying, how can we, you know, drum up something on this card? And, you know, somebody had brought up a point just after the Nunez fight was canceled, and they were saying, you know, maybe the UFC knew something. Maybe they knew they needed something besides the Nunez fight for this to be a pay-per-view card that could bring in viewers. Because if they didn't have this fight and then the Nunez fight dropped off like it already has, that would have been quite a disaster for the UFC, man. So, you know, even though the marketing guys kind of pulled this interim bullshit on us, which nobody really seemed to think was necessary. Here we are, and now it's the main event. And it's a goddamn good thing we got one. Otherwise, it would have been like Aldo Munoz or Chiesa Luque, which I don't know would have been great as a 5-round fight. So we got Jax Outlaw Ray. Nicely done, Weez. What's up, Jax Outlaw? Good to have you with us here. We got Mystic Sosa. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Thanks for hanging out, dude. I appreciate it. And Nigel Lee is in the room. Dude, you're not late. We just started here. Your Uncle Weezy's already rambling, already fucking getting off subject because we're supposed to be talking about Chiesa Luque with you guys here. So let's get into these stats. Let's get into the balls deep breakdown. Start like we always do with the tail of the tape. We got to look at these measurables, and we see that Vicente Luque is the younger fighter here, 4 years younger than Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa having a 2-inch height advantage. He is a big welterweight. And I was saying to Brady last night on Stat Diggers, I have no idea how this guy made 155 because he's looking huge for a welterweight now. And he was making 155 at 6'1" back in the day. He's put a lot of muscle on that frame of his. But both of these guys now have got a 75-inch reach. This is a southpaw versus orthodox battle here. We've got Vicente Luque training out of Sanford MMA, obviously one of the best camps in the world right now, if we're being honest with ourselves. These guys are winning a lot of fights, bringing a lot of good game plans to the table, and winning a lot of high-level fights as well. Recently, these guys have been absolutely on fire. And Kiesa has always been training out of the Pacific Northwest there with the Sick Jitsu camp. Luque originally from Brazil, now he trains in Florida, and obviously Kiesa is an American. And if we look at the pro experience here, we see that Luque's got an experience advantage in terms of total fights. 28 total fights for Luque, 20 for Chiesa. I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit more, you guys, so that you can get a really good look at these stats. And then we've got an 18-4 professional record for Chiesa, a 20 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw record for Luque. We got about 100 more minutes in the pro cage for Luque here. Average fight time just a couple minutes longer for Luque. Both of these guys, prolific finishers. And then we see that the career length is about the same. So if we're summing up UFC experience, pro experience, and the measurables, we're seeing that, Chiesa is going to be the older guy, but Luque's 4 years younger, but Kiesa is going to have that little bit of that height advantage and probably a little bit of a size advantage. 2 inches taller, probably a little bit broader in the shoulders as well. Just a little bit bigger of a dude here. And then when we talk about the experience, we're talking about Luque having an experience advantage. 6 more pro fights, 100 more minutes in the pro cage. Both of these guys have had an over 12-year MMA career. And if we look at just the UFC experience, we see that these guys are very similar in their UFC numbers: 15 fights, 16 fights, 13-3 for Luque, 11-4 for Chiesa, 150 minutes of cage time for Chiesa, 136 for Luque, average fight time below 10 minutes for both of them. Let's look at the finish stats here, because I'm seeing some opportunities here when we get into these finish stats. Vicente Luque is a prolific finisher. If we add up the 35% sub rate and the 55% knockout rate overall, obviously that is a 90% finish rate. And in 28 pro fights, that's 23. I'm sorry, that is 25 finishes for Vicente Luque out of 28 fights. 18 finishes out of 20 wins for Vicente Luque. And in his 13 wins in the UFC, he's even got a bigger finish percentage at the UFC level than he did on the aggregate. As we see, he's got a 93% finish rate in his UFC wins, 12 out of 13 of his UFC wins coming inside the distance. And we see that Michael Chiesa here is a submission artist when he does finish. 55% of his UFC wins have come by submission. So that is 6 out of 11 wins there. And 61% of his 18 wins have come by submission. I believe that's 10 of his 18 pro wins have come by submission. Now, what's also interesting when we see, that Vicente Luque in his UFC career has finished 93% of his wins, we see that Michael Chiesa has been finished in 100% of his losses. He's been subbed 3 times and he's been knocked out once. So this is a spot where if you are looking at Luque here and you like Luque and you see a 93% finish rate in his wins and you see his opponent having 100% finish rate in his losses, a good way to get some value on the line would be to bet him inside the distance. Because if Vicente Luque did beat Chiesa by decision, that would be the first time that Chiesa ever lost by decision in the UFC, and it would only be the second time in 14 wins for Vicente Luque that he would win by decision. So, yeah, if you're looking to stretch a little bit of value and you are on the Luque side after I'm done with this breakdown, take a long look at that inside the distance line. There's gonna be some value there, you guys. Let's see what you're saying in the chat here now that we've gotten through those finish stats, the measurables, and the pro experience numbers here. And let's see. We have got OKK saying Munoz, Menafield, Kenny, Gane, parlay looking good. The Kenny one, I don't know as much about. I'll probably be doing a balls deep breakdown on the Kenny fight. That is a very interesting. I am kind of high on Song here, but Kenny's going to be the more willing wrestler in that fight. And we do know that he goes to the wrestling quite a bit. And even though Song doesn't have the best takedown defense, He does have a pretty good get-up game. And then we got Nigel Lee saying, grateful, DFS, Jack Attack, Mystic, what's up? Dude, Nigel, you're one of the best supporters of my show of Stat Diggers. I appreciate you guys, all of you guys hanging out with me in here. And we got Sosa saying, glad to see you everywhere I go, hardcore, at Lee. And let's see, what did I just do there? Something just happened. I fucked up my chat. Let's see. Chat. Not that. God damn it, you guys. I fucked up my chat here. There it is. Okay, good. Got it back. All right. And Nigel Lee saying, my balls are ready to be in it, dude. You're going to dip your balls in it. And are your balls hot like Derek Lewis, man? Because sometimes you got to pull them out and cool them down a little bit, man. Life's about comfort. If you're not comfortable, man, you're doing something wrong. We got Jack Attack saying, sup, Nigel, and we got Nigel saying, Mystic, what is up? Everybody's just, what's up in everybody. Nigel Lee saying, fellas, share on social media. I agree with that, man. Share this shit on social media. People are going to want to get balls deep into an interesting fight like Chiesa Luque, and we're going to get balls deep into all the stats here. My God, I hope Luque doesn't land that hitter quitter here. Yeah, well, he could certainly do that, man. Luque's striking is really good. Dude's got a crazy good chin. And Kiesa's not known for his striking, plain and simple. He's a grappler. We got Jack Attack saying the one person he took to a decision in the UFC was never the same again, Mike Perry. Yeah, dude, you're right about that. That was an absolute war, and he rearranged Mike Perry's face in that fight. And I think Perry might have returned the favor as well. That was a war, and some of those fights with Nico Price were also the same, man. Just incredible fights. We got DFS by the number saying, think there's value on Luque inside the distance plus 240 or submission plus 1400. Dude, Luque inside the distance is a value bet. I mean, you're talking about 100% loss rate for Chiesa. When he gets finished, he loses. When he loses, he gets finished inside the distance. Over 90% of Chiesa's UFC wins are by finish. Dude, that is a great value on that line because you're getting minus money on this dude anyway. Now you're getting plus 240 on the inside the distance. And by the way, that sub line is very, very juicy there, man. We got and that's the thing. We saw that in 4 losses for Chiesa, 3 of them have been by submission. You're talking about plus 1400 for Luque, and Luque's got some tricky little front chokes. Go back and watch. What fight was it? Luque was working with some front chokes against somebody that was shooting on him. You know what? I forgot. I'll have to look at the but Luque does have good front chokes, and he can get that -4 or plus 1400 on a sub prop for a guy who has lost 75% of his UFC losses have come by submission. Is a juicy little line. Definitely on the sub line, says Jack Attack. Thomas Howard, what's up, dude? Thanks for hanging out, Thomas. And DFS saying, yeah, I'm kind of leaning Chiesa, but my goodness, those Luque violence props are crazy. Yes, they are. They are crazy. Maybe we could find a nice little hedge where we could get Chiesa and Luque inside the distance and maybe win either way. The DXJC sub prop is definitely solid. Luque loves his darts. That's exactly. And we've seen Chiesa caught in one before by Masvidal, albeit years ago. And yes, Masvidal did catch him in that darts, choked him out. And you know what was crazy? 2 of those 4 losses by Chiesa by submission, very questionable. He tapped with less than a half second left to that darce with Masvidal. That was his first loss. And then the other one was the rear naked choke from Kevin Lee, where he wasn't tapping. Hey, props to Mario Yamasaki, man. We miss you, dude. Where's Mario Yamasaki these days? We're always talking about how shitty the judging is. Why can't we if we're going to fuck up people's fights with bad judging, let's just get Mario Yamasaki and Steve Mazzagatti back in the cage, and we can just have it be like fucking professional wrestling. It'll be a big treat for everybody. We got J-Boy in the room saying, I hope this card delivers, and I've been down since Connor Dustin. Yeah, dude, there's been some tough cards lately, especially that last week one. Not many people got out with a profit, dude. Nigel saying, Uncle Weezy, fun stat. Every fight that Luque has landed more significant strikes in the first round, he has won. I'm not surprised about that. And I've got some stuff in the advanced stats for you guys that I want to show you as well that I think are some really compelling stats here. And we got Sosa saying, what's up to Jay? Nigel saying, I can definitely see a club and sub where Kiesa gets clocked and then he sinks in an RNC or other kind of a choke. Yeah, that could be too, man. This fight's going to take place on the ground for sure. Jack Attack saying, if Kiesa gets tired and has resistance in the grappling realm, I can see the wheels coming off pretty quickly thereafter. Yeah, well, I think the wheels came off for Kiesa a couple times on the ground because he used to have to kill himself to make 155. Now that he's at 170 and his body is in a lot better shape, maybe we'll see him have a little bit more conditioning in order to go along with those grappling heavy game plans that he always brings to the table. Very exhausting way to fight. So he's going to have to be well conditioned in order to beat Vicente Luque because, that guy Luque is always in wars. So, and we've got Nigel Lee saying we don't need a death with Yamasaki in there. Yeah, Yamasaki, Mazzagatti, and then he can just hang out with Saul D'Amato and Adelaide Bird and McCarthy. Rob McCarthy, I think his name is. I keep forgetting. It's not John McCarthy, the old referee, but it's somebody named McCarthy who I've seen have some really bad decisions. Chris Lee, the whole fucking stooge crew there. They can all hang out and laugh their asses off about how they steal money from gamblers like us with their horse shit decisions and their bad stoppages. But let's get into the striking stats here. Ron McCarthy, thank you. Thank you for putting that name out there on Front Street because it deserves to be right there. Mr. Ron McCarthy, terrible judge, number 7 in the UFC. So let's look at the striking stats here. This is where we see the difference in how these guys go about their business, right? Michael Chiesa only lands 1.89 significant strikes per minute. That's about as low as it gets, and he only offers 4.68, a 40% striking accuracy. He does have a knockdown in the UFC. He actually knocked down Jorge Masvidal in their fight, and I was shocked to see that Chiesa even had one because this is not a guy whose striking is UFC level. That's why he grapples constantly. Vicente Luque, though, is landing 5.74 significant strikes per minute out of 10.58 offered. So he's more than doubling the output of Michael Chiesa here. He's got a 55% striking or 54% striking accuracy, a 1.27% knockdowns per total significant strikes landed, which averages out to 1.1 knockdowns per 15 minutes. And if we look at these guys defensively, we see that Michael Chiesa is only absorbing 1.71 significant strikes per minute out of 3.76 offered. He's got a 54% striking defense, while Luque actually absorbs more than he lands, and his opponents throw more than him. As he lands 5.74, absorbs 5.78, his opponents throw 10.58, or Luque throws 10.58. Luque's opponents throw 12.18, 52% striking defense. He's been knocked down on 0.25% of the significant strikes that he's absorbed. So that would be 2 knockdowns in 792 strikes against, 0.22 knockdowns against. So we see that Luque landing 5.74, absorbing 5.78, as opposed to Chiesa, who's landing only 1.89 and absorbing only 1.71. We see Luque's fights are very striking heavy, and we see that Chiesa's fights are not striking heavy. So, what we need to figure out here when we go to the grappling stats is how likely it is that Luque is going to be able to keep this fight standing, be able to keep it in the center of the cage where he's going to be most comfortable, where he's going to be far ahead of Chiesa in the distance striking ability, and really going to be the most comfortable there. While we know that Michael Chiesa has got some grappling chops that he constantly goes to. And, I actually wrote down some notes, but I did not actually bring them into the office here. So what I'm going to need you guys to do is to talk amongst yourself for like the next 10 seconds while I go into the other room and get these notes, because I got some cheeky little notes here about Chiesa and how he constantly goes to his grappling. So stick with me here for just a second. I apologize. What? Now, if we look at these grappling stats, we can see that Chiesa is attempting a ton of takedowns here, right? 15 UFC fights for Michael Chiesa, 68 takedown attempts, and he's gotten more than half of them, 36 out of 68 for a 53% takedown percentage. He's averaging 3.6 takedowns for 15 minutes, almost one submission attempt for 15 minutes, and almost a 50% control time percentage in 15 UFC fights. This guy keeps the fights in the grappling realm almost constantly. Just for shits and giggles, I looked at 7 of Michael Chiesa's fights, and I timed how long it took for Michael Chiesa to either clinch up or shoot the first takedown. Against Carlos Condit, that came at the 15-second mark. Against Jorge Masvidal, it came at the 14-second mark. Against Neil Magny, it came at the 15-second mark. Against Diego Sanchez, grappling was initiated at the 9-second mark, but it was by Sanchez. Versus Pettis, the 10-second mark. Versus Kevin Lee, the 45-second mark. And versus Rafael Dos Anjos, the 1 minute and 10-second mark. So this guy does not waste time in the center of the cage trying to strike, trying to use his striking even to set up the takedown attempt. He just shoots. He just shoots or he clinches up. He waits until you take a backward step. He walks towards you and he initiates that grappling. And then if we look at Vicente Luque, he's also got a really good takedown percentage. He's got a 50% takedown percent, but he's only attempted 12 takedowns in 16 fights. So he's gotten 6 out of those 12 attempts. Very good, but he's only averaging 0.66 per 15 minutes, while Kiesa's averaging almost 3.66, almost 3 more per 15 minutes. He attempts about the same amount of submissions, but if we look at, Luque's control time numbers here, we see 14.63% for, 17.49% against, okay? So that adds up to about 31, 32%. But if we look at Kiesa's for and against, we're talking about 48 and 17. So 58, 65, 66% of his fights are taking place in control time positions. That's 2/3. That's 10 out of every 15 minutes where somebody's back is up against the cage or somebody's back is up against the mat. And that might not be enough time for Vicente Luque in order to win this fight. Because in order for him to win rounds, he's going to need to be striking for probably at least 2 minutes of it, minute and a half minimum. And he's going to have to win all those striking exchanges if he's only striking for that long, because what's going to be fresh in the judges' minds is the 3 to 4 minutes of control time that Kiesa is getting every single round against his opponents. So we see that the takedown defense for Vicente Luque actually does leave a little something to be desired here. Only 66%. He's successfully defended 25 of 38 takedowns against. He's getting taken down more than twice as much as he's taking down his opponents. So I do see definitely that path to victory for Michael Chiesa via grapple fuck. That's how he's done it in the past. That's how he's going to keep doing it in the future. Michael Chiesa is not a young man anymore. We've already went over that. He's 33 years old. This is not the time in his mixed martial arts career where all of a sudden you're going to see his striking take massive leaps. That's not how it works. This guy's going to continue to go to his grappling just like he has in the past. So let's go to the advanced stats here. As I've got the stats up on the screen for Kiesa here, and I want to look at control time numbers. All right. So I want to point out that there have been 4 times in Michael Chiesa's career where his opponents have had more control time than Michael has. All right. And here we've got this column right here is control time for Chiesa, and this one is against. So we're going to look at the fights where his opponents outcontrolled him. We got Kevin Lee outcontrolling him 213-8. We've got Joe Lozon outcontrolling him 164-82. We've got Colton Smith outcontrolling him 191-81. And we've got Jorge Masvidal outcontrolling him 192-162. So if we just highlight those 4 fights, we will see that Michael Chiesa is 1-3 in his UFC career when his opponents out control him. So control time is the key in this fight. This is how Chiesa wins. The only guy that out controlled him and lost was Colton Smith, and that was only by 110 seconds. Colton Smith was a big time wrestler. And if we look here at takedowns too, there's only been one fight where Michael Chiesa has not gotten a takedown. Look at this, one fight, and that was a loss to Kevin Lee. So we see that if we're going to talk about how Chiesa wins, he wins when he gets takedowns. He wins when he out controls his opponents. When he out controls his opponents, if he's 1-3 when he controls his opponents, we can just do the subtraction there and see that he's 10-1 when he out controls his opponents. 10-1. All right, that's a 91% winning percentage if he gets more control time than you. And we can see in Vicente Luque's performances here, these are not big control time numbers, you guys. If we look at this column here, this is the column for Vicente Luque's control time. We see a 332 out of 532 here versus Herrera, 323 out of 900. But generally, these numbers don't even get into the triple digits over a 900-second fight. These are not the kind of fights that Michael Chiesa is used to being in. Chiesa is going to be in fights that are 66% spent in control time positions. For Luque, it's just not that. Luque doesn't get a lot of control time, and he doesn't get controlled a lot. The highest amount of control time he's given up, 312 here to Leon Edwards in a loss, 200 to Mike Perry in a win, 109 to Randy Brown in a win. Nobody's really trying to take that game. Michael Graves is one of the guys who out-controlled him, and that's one of the 3 losses. And I mean, if we look here, actually, Michael Graves out-controlled Luque, 537 to 208, loss. Here was 10 seconds of control time, but here's a fight that spent 2/3 of the time in control time, loss. Stephen Thompson out-controlled him by 10 seconds. Really not much, but who cares? Still a loss. When he's getting out-controlled, he generally loses. He's got a win where he got out-controlled by Laprise. He's got a win where he got out-controlled by Nico Price, but these are not grapplers. I just think that Chiesa is going to bring the kind of fight that Luque is not going to be comfortable in and that he's not experienced in. But he is training at a great camp. He is going to be able to have the chance to be able to show us a much improved grappling game. And I wouldn't be surprised. Vicente Luque is an excellent mixed martial artist. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did, meet Chiesa's grappling game with a lot of opposition, with a lot of resistance, and actually had some success there. But, I'd have to see it before I actually believed it. And I really do believe that Chiesa is probably going to have a lot more success with the grappling in this fight. And he's going to make it the kind of fight that he is used to winning. So, yeah, we've looked at some of these numbers already in terms of the strength of schedule. Vicente Luque, a slightly better ratio, but Chiesa fighting the far more experienced opponent. The average opponent that Chiesa fights has an 11.67 win and 7 loss record, while for Luque, they're much less experienced at 5.25 wins and 2.81 losses. And it's the same thing in his wins, 1.86 ratio over a 1.66, and much more experienced guys that Chiesa's beating. And then if we look at the losses, Luque's losing to the better ratioed opponents, but Chiesa's losing to the very experienced guys with 20 total UFC fights. So let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Let's see. We've got, wow, a lot of commentary here. So let's see here. Bro, I said yesterday, I have a face like a school shooter, Nigel. I ain't pretty like Weezy or Brady. I'd just be there for the big brain humor. You're the man character, Nigel. Jack Attack saying meow, sheltering. Yeah, the cat's meows a lot, dude. And we can't compete with Brady and Weezy, bro. They work 8 days a week. We do work a lot, man. We try to give you guys as much content as possible. I hear pussy, says Sosa. Yeah, you heard correctly, man. I hear it a lot in this house. Kiesa will oil check Luque and all hell breaks loose. I hope not, man. I don't like the oil check, dude. I don't think there's any place for the oil check in mixed martial arts. DXJC, Kiesa's takedown stats since moving to welterweight are ridiculous. 19 of 25 landed, but you got Diego and Condit as 2 of his 4 opponents, maybe overinflated. Yeah, but even if you're taking down guys, Condit, one of the worst historical takedown defenses in any division in the UFC. But still, I mean, if you're 19 and 25, it means you're doing your job. I mean, when you're getting takedowns at almost an 80% rate, it doesn't really matter if the other people have takedown defense or not. You're just doing your job. What was up with Kiesa versus Kevin Lee? So, yeah, Kiesa was getting choked. Lee put in a rear naked choke there, Alan. Kiesa fought the hands, got the rear hand off. It was a one-handed choke at that point, and then he kind of started turning into him, and Yamasaki just jumped in, stopped the fight. Kiesa did not tap. It was Mario Yamasaki being Mario Yamasaki. Again, we miss you, Mario. God, it's just not the same here without you, baby. Sal D'Amato and Rob McCarthy, they miss you. They miss you terribly. And we've got Nigel Lee. Dan, we will have different time slots. We won't compete, just compliment. I guess this is why his opponents land such a low significant strike. Hey, yeah, that's right, because he grapples people. So it's hard to land any more than 2 significant strikes a minute when you're, this far from your opponent at all times. So yeah, that's just how Kiesa fights. He fights in a way which masks his biggest weakness, which is his striking. And it's a very smart way to fight. Yeah, he's like Maya. He is. He's like Maya in that respect. He wants to stick to his opponents. We got Dan saying, Mike Kiesa sticks to you like shit sticks to the underside of my dog's tail. His body lock is sneaky. He's got good body lock takedowns. He's got good inside trips, single legs. Kiesa's got a number of different ways to take you down. He's not just a good submission grappler. He's a very, very good wrestler. Great combination of skills to have. The wrestling gets you to the ground. The submission grappling gets you to the finish. And that really complements each other very well for Kiesa, and it's why he's had such great success in the UFC. Dude, what's up, Brandon Ortega? Thanks for hanging out with us, man. I appreciate it. We got Mystic Sosa saying, Alan, Kevin Lee will be fighting Sean Brady. I can't wait for that fight, dude. It's already been postponed once. I can't wait for that one. Sean Brady, such a fantastic welterweight prospect, baller-ass back tattoo. Can't wait to see him fight Kevin Lee. It's been too long since we've seen Kevin Lee in the cage. Really exciting fighter in his own right. Can't wait to see that one. Yes, very good fight, but Kiesa grappling wasn't so amazing versus Kevin Lee. Well, I'll tell you one fucking thing, Alan. Vicente Luque is not Kevin Lee on the ground, man. He is not Kevin Lee on the ground. Kevin Lee is very, very good on the ground. Dan Goldstein, haha, Nigel, I ain't messing with Brady's time slots, and neither am I. I'm not messing with any of Brady's time slots, including the ones that I'm included in. You know how many weapons he can smuggle in those sweater pockets? Dude, yeah, he's got some weapons, but the 2 that he has are pretty much right here. I've sent the orderlies from 1-800-GAMBLER a couple times over there to his place to get him in the padded room. I wanted to talk to him about the Hu Yazong bet a couple weeks ago. Dude, Brady keeps overpowering those orderlies, man. Those orderlies are tough. So, yeah, Brady's got, if he carries a knife, he probably doesn't even need it because he just uses those fists of his. We got Alan saying Luque is a black belt himself on the ground. Yeah, I know, but let's face it, in order to use that black belt, you have to be a fantastic wrestler. And you look at what Kevin Lee did to Kiesa. He was the one who took down Kiesa. He was the one who initiated the grappling. He picked him up and slammed him. Kevin Lee's got great offensive wrestling. Luque has attempted 12 takedowns in 18 fights. So we're not talking about a guy that uses his wrestling. He may be a black belt on the ground, but so are a lot of the guys that fucking Kiesa has submitted so far. Let's see, we got Nigel saying, Dan, I hit you another parlay for plus 1,500 with 50 on it today. I dumped it all already on the UFC. Hey, we're all fucking degenerates, Nigel. That's why we're hanging out in here. You know, Brady has an extra sleeve in the back that we can't see. Nigel, you have 99 problems, but a bankroll ain't one. Run it, bro. I'm only betting on Munoz and Johns. Want to get my betting mostly done in the undercard, and I'm betting Kiesa as well by decision, light week. Mystic Sosa saying, damn, I love these stats. I love giving you guys these stats. You know, I dig deep to find some ones that are interesting. And, you know, like I say, you know, you got to really look into the full career of each fighter, you know, and when I have the advanced stats, I can kind of just go through them and find things like, oh, yeah, Kiesa is 1-3 when he gets out controlled, but 10-1 when he out controls his opponents. These are the kind of stats that matter. And especially when we see a striker versus grappler matchup like this one, we can kind of look to those stats to determine who's going to thrive in that type of environment. And I do see it being Kiesa, but man, if Luque wins this fight, it's going to be inside the distance. Outside of the Graves fight, where he got taken down 7 out of 10 times, Luque's only been taken down 5 out of 28 times. 3 of those were Leon Edwards. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Graves is a very good wrestler. I'm surprised he never made it back to the UFC because he's a guy who still is using that wrestling and still fighting, if I'm not mistaken. Still's got a real good record, really good base. I don't know if he had some demons in his life or something, but Michael Graves is a very good wrestler, and I watched that fight today. He did a great job controlling Luque on the ground. Yeah, you know, and the thing about Kiesa is he really is just trying to get to your back. And if he gets there, he's deadly. And, you know, I mean, you saw what he did to Neil Magny. You know, Neil Magny and Vicente Luque, you know, that would be a very, very interesting comparison to make between those two guys. Because if you look at what Kiesa did to Magny, you know, do you think Magny could out grapple Luque? I mean, I think it would be real close, but, you know, Kiesa made it look easy against Magny there. So, you know, I don't think we want to underestimate Kiesa's grappling here. I know Luque's a black belt. I know he trains with Gilbert Burns, and I know he trains with Kamaru Usman, and some of the best ground games in the business. But it doesn't change the fact that even though he does all the training with those guys, he's still looking to only strike in his fights. That's what Luque wants. You know, Kiesa's not going to give him what he wants here. So we're going to have to see, and we have to kind of just imagine how it is going to take place, because we haven't seen since Michael Graves in 2015 or 2016 somebody go into a Luque fight with the kind of game plan that Kiesa is going to bring. I mean, we look at all the opponents. Let's just look at them here, you guys. Right? Michael Graves, Hader Hassan, pure striker. Alvaro Herrera, I don't even know, dude. Hector Urbina, okay. Bilal Muhammad, you know, mainly a striker who uses some wrestling. Leon Edwards, Nico Price, striker. Chad Laprise, striker. Jalen Turner, striker. Barberena, striker. Derek Krantz took this man's back. Derek Krantz took fucking Luque's back. Now, Luque got out of the position, worked out of it, finished him in the first round. Great performance by Luque, but look, that's Derek Krantz on your back. If Kiesa gets on your back, you're not getting out of it. You know, and Derek Krantz took that fight on very, very short notice as well. Mike Perry, not known for his grappling, although his grappling has gotten better. Stephen Thompson, pure striker. Nico Price, pure striker. Randy Brown, good all around. Tyron Woodley, even though he's a great wrestler and a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he never used that shit. So not since Michael Graves, July 12th, 2015, have we seen, you know, Vicente Luque fight somebody who's going to have the kind of game plan that Kiesa has. Those fights that on aggregate are going to be taking place 66 to 70% in control time positions. You know, we haven't seen Vicente Luque really out-grapple anybody yet. So, I mean, he's got a sub over Nico Price. He's got a sub over Tyron Woodley, but that was because of, you know, that was a clubbing sub. So, I'm worried for Luque here. This is going to be an ugly fight for him. He's going to have to really scrape in order to find room and find positions where he's going to be comfortable, and Kiesa isn't. Jack Attack saying, damn, I wanted to take Luque, but it's hard to argue with the numbers. If you take Luque, take him inside the distance. That's how he wins. Dan Goldstein saying, yeah, it's Brady's back sleeve where he keeps the blades. I ain't starting a copper show under that kind of threat of violence. We got, Michael Graves is the guy from Tough. Yes, that's right, Alan. Mystic Sosa saying, this is a great test to see if Luque is worthy for a title run. Same for Kiesa. Both are tested on their weaknesses. Yeah, whoever wins this fight takes the next step and absolutely deserves it. These guys are top 5 guys, in my opinion, both of them. And if they're not, they're like number 6. And from Tough 21, that's right. That we saw that one. Oh shit, my God. All these comments. Yeah, Black Zillions versus ATT. That was the one that Luque was on, right? 100% right. This is matchmaking to see who's next and can make that next leap, and that's absolutely correct. Jack Attack saying, yeah, that's my thinking when it comes to Kiesa. With the exception of Magny and Condit, he's been out-grappling lightweights. That's right. And Condit isn't the best grappler. Wouldn't be shocked if Luque subs him. Well, that's why DFS by the numbers gave us that plus 1,400 sub prop on Luque, because this fight is going to be in the grappling places. Luque's got tricky front chokes. We talked about it. Darce, Anaconda, and Bravo chokes that we've seen Luque go for, and he's good at them. And like we said, he's training with guys like Usman and Gilbert Burns. Who's to say he couldn't sub him? Val, what's up, dude? Good to see you in here. This and Aldo versus Munoz and Fisayev are the reason I'll be watching this card mainly. Yeah, Aldo versus Munoz is going to be such a great bantamweight fight. And then, Rafael Fisayev is must-watch MMA. That guy is so fun to watch. Those matrix moves that he has in the cage, crazy shit. He's an elite striker. Can't wait to break down that Green Fisayev fight. That's definitely going to be one of the next Balls Deep breakdowns. Nigel Lee saying, we love Weezy. Dude, your Uncle Weezy loves you, Nigel. Thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it. We got Uncle Weezy treats us better than a husband treats his third wife that don't want kids. Dude, the third wife that doesn't want kids is always the best wife, man. Come on. We got Zor in the room. What's up, Zor? I still see this fight going to Luque just because he trains with Burns, which is a better grappler than Kiesa. That's correct. He does train with Gilbert Burns, trades at a fantastic camp there at Sanford. This is going to be such a damn good fight. That's why we had to break it down. All right, Nigel saying, okay, jokes aside, what do you feel about Kopp and his style and how it translates to the UFC? For me, after rewatching tape, he looks busy with his movement, but he does not engage. Well, especially in the UFC. Haven't seen any urgency out of Mano Kopp. There's been a lot of jokes going around about how the guy just doesn't win when he doesn't have shoes on his feet. And that's crazy. Whenever I look at old tape and I'm like, what the fuck are these guys wearing shoes for? It's so crazy to see, guys that were just fighting 2-3 years ago, like Mano Kopp was in Pride, wearing shoes. It's bizarre. I don't know how the hell they let anybody in the mixed martial arts wear shoes, and why anybody would want to wear shoes when you're fighting a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy who can get you in a heel hook it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But anyway, that's why I'm not in the cage, my brains are already scrambled enough from my 9 years in college. I don't need to be getting punched in the head like these guys, man. And we got Zor, my long lost friend, says Sosa. We got Uncle Weezy, and the grappling stats of Mike has me wanting to throw a silver piece on Kiesa, but sub as well. Yeah, man. Well, he tries to get those subs, dude. Bo Jackson saying hard fight to predict. I think at some point Luque is going to get his shots in. Luque's always live for a finish. Well, yeah. 93% finish rate as a pro, 100% finish rate in Kiesa's losses as a pro. Man, if you like Luque, I'm begging you, bet the inside the distance line. I really believe the sub prop is live on both sides. And Nigel, come on. I agree with you too. That's why we talked this shit out together and that's why I'm doing it live now, because I'm getting you guys talking about your leans as well. And if I miss something, you guys are catching it. So this is why these Balls Deep breakdowns are so useful for me and why I love doing them, because I really do believe that sub prop is very live on both sides, man. There's a good chance it happens. Kiesa is fantastic at imposing his will on a fight. That's what those significant strike numbers really highlight. It's absolutely right, man. They absolutely do. Damn, man. There we go. We got Jack Attack saying, even though Woodley definitely was past his prime, that sub win for Luque might be a better submission win than on paper than any of Chiesa's. I'm torn on this. If I take Luque, it'll be inside the distance for sure. Well, dude, Tyron Woodley's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and, a collegiate wrestling star. So this guy was definitely, you don't submit Tyron Woodley easily. Nobody. Frankly, until Colby Covington stopped Woodley with the rib injury in the 5th round, that was the first time Woodley had ever been stopped in the UFC. And then it happened again with Luque. So, yeah, Luque's a fucking killer, dude. Bo Jackson saying, 3rd round finish Luque or Chiesa decision. Yeah, 3rd round prop could be a good one in this fight because this is going to be a grappling heavy war, and whoever's conditioning gives out first probably will get finished late in this fight. Yeah, it is really hard. Chiesa propped in the 2nd and 3rd, so I'm not going to do a decision prop. I'll just ride my violence bets. I'm on the Chiesa side. And Bo Jackson saying, I could see Luque getting the 2-on-1 and peeling Chiesa off a couple times. Stronger guy. Yeah, man, that's for sure. The Mano Cop Shoes excuse for losing his debut was straight up bad fight IQ to me. You sign to an organization that doesn't use shoes. Maybe train without shoes in the buildup. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good idea, right? I mean, if he was training with shoes on, what the hell was he doing, dude? Mano Cop 100% needs to not train in black Air Forces and he should win. Yeah, just getting in. Thanks, Uncle Weezy, for putting this up. I need to make some money back this week. Yeah, I do too, man. I lost 2.3 units. I didn't have any bets until Saturday morning, and I thought I was going to be the smartest guy on MMA Twitter, not having any bets on that garbage card the other day, and I wound up getting sucked in, putting 2.8 units down on it. Lost all of them, thanks to Ryan Benoit and Sean Strickland not having any urgency in trying to finish Uriah Hall. So, yeah, that definitely did not work out for me. Let's be fair, though. Did Luque out jiu-jitsu Woodley, or did he put him to death with those hammers and finish the job with the darts? Yeah, it was a club and sub. There's no question about that. He really hurt Woodley. What a great fight that was, by the way. Every Luque fight is great, but that Luque-Woodley fight was fire, man. It was so good. Hey, chat, can everyone just share the link on whatever social media you're on? Get this out there. We have to support Weezy and this great free content. It's so easy. A caveman can do it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me here on Balls Deep Breakdowns. I see that the Die Hard MMA podcast is going to be starting in 12 minutes. So let's look at these lines here and wrap this up so that you guys can get over to Pub Sports Radio and check out what's going to be a really good show. We got Clint. We got my man Billy Briz from Pub Sports Radio. We got Danny Betts from Pub Sports Radio. And there was some talk with Clint on Twitter talking about having maybe the Zohan, Randy Costa on the show. Dude, I'm going to be fucking tuning into that. So let's look at these lines. We have got right now, I'm going to refresh this, make sure we get the freshest lines here. And we see that Michael Chiesa right now, the best lines that we can find on him, Bet365 and Betway. He's slightly plus money at plus 110. Vicente Luque, the best we can find him here at 5 dimes, minus 115. The aggregate line looks like it's somewhere around minus 120 for Luque, plus 105 for Chiesa. And we got a lot. So we've got the fight doesn't go to decision is minus 110. The fight goes to decision is minus 130. So we see that the bookies are thinking that this probably does go to decision a little bit more often than it doesn't. And we got Luque by TKO plus 250. What's Luque inside the distance? Luque inside the distance plus 240. That's juicy, you guys. That's how he wins. And then we've got, let's see, Kiesa by submission plus 600. And that was even juicier before. That's went down. That could be interesting. Yeah, man, I like Michael Chiesa in this spot. I think he's going to make this fight very, very difficult on his opponent here. This is, we got a clash of styles where you got the grappler versus the striker. We don't really know which one of these guys is going to impose their will, but we do know, that Chiesa is shooting for a takedown 15 seconds in, 14, 15. a minute 10, 9, 10, and 45 seconds in. This guy doesn't wait to get into the grappling exchanges. That's what we're going to want to see him do here against Luque. Kiesa's striking simply is not on Luque's level. Is Luque's grappling on Kiesa's level? Well, that's a question we don't really know, because as we went through the advanced stats before, we saw that there weren't a lot of people trying to grapple him. Kiesa's going to try to grapple him. So you have to picture how you think the grappling exchanges are going to go. Is Kiesa going to be a step ahead on those grappling exchanges like he has in the past? And he has had such great takedown accuracy at the welterweight level. Well, now that he's, really kind of using his body to its fullest potential, not having to kill himself to make weight. At 6'1", trying to make 155 pounds is brutal. And I'm sure he kills himself to make 170 because he looks huge in there. So my pick is going to be Kiesa by a very close grapple fuck decision. I see this being a high-scoring fight on DraftKings. I see there being reversals, a lot of grappling exchanges, a lot of submission attempts, and I see it being a really exciting fight. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with me here, man. This is always so much fun to do with you guys. And we got, let's see, OK Casey, and that punch that put Woodley down sounded like a gun went off. Man, that was such a great fight. I love that fight, dude. Might just take no distance on this one. We got my guy Chris Kalanzis in the room. Let's go, Uncle Weezy. Let's go, Chris. Balls deep, like we always do in the Balls Deep breakdowns. We got Nigel saying my Reese's as well. Yeah, dude, I'm a Reese's fan myself. When it comes to Reese's or Dr. Pepper, man, I'm on the Reese's side fully. Dr. Pepper's shit, in my opinion. I know Kalanzis is a guy that's a Dr. Pepper guy. It was never for me, man. I'm on the Reese's side there. I'm with Zohan, Mr. Costa. I have one friend, and I've shared this with him. If he ain't watching, I'm fighting him later today. One more friend than I got. We got Jack Attack saying shared. I appreciate that, Jack Attack. I actually think Luque is more live for the sub than Kiesa is. If it's Kiesa win, I see a sweaty glue sticking decision. I see the same thing, Jack Attack. So if you think that, brother, plus 1,400 for a Luque sub, ship it. Take it. Bet it right now, because if that's how you feel, man, you gotta jump on that plus 1,400 line. Ton of value there. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Check me out on Twitter at MMA Weezy. I have put in the description of this video on YouTube, I've put the link to the advanced stats and the matchups here so that you guys can use this matchup template. I've got all 13 fights that are going to be happening on UFC 265 on this template. If you're thinking about betting on any of these fights, download that for free. Use all those statistics to help you make your gambling decisions. I hope we shave the asses of these bookies. That's why I'm here providing this information for you guys. I truly appreciate each and every one of you that spends time hanging out with your Uncle Weezy on these Balls Deep breakdowns. I'm going to head out here. I'm going to go watch Clint on the Die Hard MMA podcast and take my Rottweiler for a walk. And let's just see what you guys, we got Dan here saying, nah, it's us that should be thankful, Uncle Weezy. I saw in a chat yesterday someone bitching about the barking. He can come see me. Oh, yeah. I mean, somebody said, can you shut the dog up before your stream? And I said, no, I mean, he's a 110-pound Rottweiler. Nobody shuts him up. He shuts you up. That's what Rottweilers do, man. They're fucking tough. So, if you got a problem with the dog barking, you come over here, fucking tell him to shut up. See how that works for you. B saying, thanks, man. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you hanging out, man. Grateful, dude. Thank you for hanging out. I always appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Dan, Nigel, Chris Kalanzis, Alan, Mystic Sosa, all you guys, man. Thank you for hanging out on Balls Deep Breakdown. There's going to be another one coming at you tomorrow. And check out me, DFS by the Numbers, Z's MMA, and Luke from Sparring with Reality. We're going to be debuting a brand new DraftKings show on Pub Sports Radio tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. Be there, be square. It's going to be the inaugural episode. I'm fired up for it. Join us over there. Check out Stat Diggers on Pub Sports Radio. We did that last night. If you haven't already, link to that is in the description. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. God bless each and every one of you. I am